Yo, Joe Phantomaniacs, welcome to the newest unboxing here on the Needless Things YouTube channel. Today we are looking at the G.I. Joe Classified, or G.I. Joe Retro Series Storm Shadow. This is from Hasbro Pulse. Walmart, as far as I know, has shown no signs whatsoever of shipping theirs. And I will say, I almost hate to open this because it was packed very carefully, or very well. No surprise, I'll be reviewing Zartan soon as well. They were in the box like this, and they were wrapped in that new, like, mesh-looking paper that they've been using, and they were in a box that was actually big enough for these giant card backs. So they arrived, as you can see, pretty much mint. But the effort it would take to potentially ship this to somebody who wants a mint one and it not be damaged, it's just not worth it. And especially after the first wave showed up in Walmart, very minty. The problem here is that Hasbro is using very low quality, thin card backs. They're just kind of trash. I love the packaging, and if these card backs were as high a quality as what they're doing with the Marvel Legends retros, then I would possibly be buying 2 of each of these. But Hasbro is, missing out on that. So this is a slightly different version of the already released mainline Storm Shadow. Some things are different, some things are not, and we're going to take a look and see. On the back, we've got a big giant file card with 5 different languages on it, so it is ugly, aesthetically displeasing, and essentially useless, so we'll just be tossing that. But we do have, look at that, I love when everybody from the line is featured. That cross-sell is a lost art in this day and age, so it's nice to see here. Alright, let's open him up. Cobra Enemy. Storm Shadow. So, the first Storm Shadow we got in the line, which I will not be comparing because it's such a different figure, was the Arctic Storm Shadow from Amazon. And then we got the mainline release Storm Shadow, which I will be taking a look at the difference there. But the mainline release Storm Shadow is very good, but not perfect. And this one is, I think, potentially a little better, but not perfect. And I will, in just a moment, express to you why. I'm not a big fan of packaging where you have to bend an item. Well, I mean, I guess I could, look. But that seems like a lot of extra work, doesn't it? Actually, that's not even gonna, forget it. We'll just bend it. I mean, it's essentially made of rubber anyway, which is really lame, so whatever, you're not hurting anything. I got a couple extra hands here. And then Storm Shadow himself. Now, if you'll remember, or if you want to go back and watch, my mainline Storm Shadow did not include his belt piece. So I had to buy another one, get it, return that one. It was kind of a big pain, but other than that, everything was fine about it. I'm also not a big fan of the belt being in the back, so I'll spin that around later, but that's not really what's important here right now. So let's get these accessories out of the way and take a look at the figure itself. On these stands, I just don't understand how Hasbro's not just putting these up on Pulse and selling them by the dozens. Lots of missed opportunities to make money going on with Hasbro. So this is a little more traditionally styled Storm Shadow. He has the hood piece, which I'm going to be taking off. I don't need that. I do like that rather than just all white, that his wrappings are a little bit off-white. I think that looks really good. Just puts a little more character in there. He's got the standard classified articulation. Somebody asked me, oh, you should run through all of the articulation when you do these reviews. But to me, that just gets boring after a while. We know what the articulation is. And yeah, I know people, those elbows, It's not as bad as some of the other figures, but they are a different color from the surrounding skin, so that's pretty ugly. You know what? This is... I almost hate to do this because we're never, with our naked eye, going to be seeing as much detail as what I'm about to show. But there it is. The elbows. Is that making a... It's making a little bit of a difference. My wife got me this magnifier, and it's pretty good. Oh, look, there's a little... Oh, there's a even more magnified little tiny spot. But I've used it when I've had to pry things apart or take a closer look at things. So let's get our magnifier out of the way here and take a look at... I have been reading that the paint app on the face has not been great on some of these. Looks fine to me. Through the camera and through my 2.0 readers, looks fine. Just for fun's sake, we'll bring our magnifier back out and see if that reveals anything more. Not really. I think it looks fine. Okay, I would love for, you know, and I don't think I noticed this on the original release, or didn't think much of it. I would love for this Cobra symbol to be bigger. You know, after reviewing that Super 7 Cobra Commander, come on, get out of the way. There we go. After reviewing that Super 7 Cobra Commander, I now want all of the Cobra symbols to take up as much real estate as they possibly can. And part of my reason for saying that is on our original Storm Shadow figure, you can see proportionally that Cobra logo is much larger. Look at that. They're almost the same size, even though this figure is twice as big, almost twice as big. But detail-wise, just to compare the two figures, and yes, I know my Storm Shadow is a little yellowy, but it's fine. I'm not paying insane prices to get a pristine white Storm Shadow, especially since I've got one of the new ones that they made. Most of the detailing is the same, and here is where I have a big giant problem with this tooling. I absolutely despise those torn sleeves. They don't make any sense to me at all. They just don't look... It's bad. Why? Why are his sleeves torn? Why has he torn his sleeves? Sleeveless would be fine. Short sleeves, like the original figure, would be fine. But those torn sleeves just drive me absolutely nuts. And I will put this out there. If anybody in the comments, anybody watching this, I guess I'll move the articulation around while I'm talking. If anybody in the comments wants to give me any advice on how I could get rid of those torn sleeves, because you would need a new butterfly piece, and I don't know that any white ones would match, or any, like, if it was something else, the skin tone's not going to match. I don't know. Although we've already got non-matching skin tone, and this is not as bad as some of them have been. Certainly, Outback was far worse, but it is noticeable. It is not great. I'm going to go ahead and spin that belt around because I just don't like it being in the back, which kind of stinks though, because his gi should hang lower in the back than in the front. Like the way the gi is sculpted, you can see, is actually accurate. But I just don't like the belt in the back. And I don't understand why they did it that way. And maybe that's a ninja thing. I don't know. If you have a good reason for that, again, tell me in the comments. Why would the belt be tied in the back? And also, why does the belt need to be a separate piece? Because this is already a separate piece. So just make this part of that. Why does it have to plug in there? I don't know. Anyway, look at the I love the treads on his feet right there. Let's get him. I don't want to get into the habit of using this stupid magnifier all the time. I mean, this great magnifier that my beautiful wife got for me. Because it's just going to add time to these videos, and they're already long enough as they are. But I guess it is kind of neat. So look, he looks great, and here are the differences. Here is straight off the shelf. the regular release Storm Shadow, who has black. They're both really good figures. I like this one as an update, but he still has the torn sleeves, which is awful. And I like this one as being, a little closer to the original figure. He doesn't have the black on the bottom of his shoes. The wrappings are a little more white than gray. The face is... I'm trying to see if the skin tones are very, very, very slightly different. If you wanted to put the face... it would bother me if you swapped these heads. But I don't know why you'd do that anyway. But fairly minor differences. I think a little more could have been done to make this one more traditional. Honestly, just looking at them, the big main thing is that this one doesn't have gloves. And this one does, which is, and also the wrappings. You can see he's got the wrappings on his forearms rather than those armor pieces, which I like. I don't know. This one, the retro one, is not enough of a difference and improvement for me to think it's necessary. And I can't honestly say that I have a preference between them. I don't know, maybe I do. Like if I had to pack one up, here's where some of the difference is going to come in. So let's set the figure aside and we'll take a look at the accessories, which are reasonably different in a good way. Let's do one at a time. So his quiver and scabbards, or quiver scabbard piece, whatever, has white fletching rather than the red that's on this version. It's not any more true or whatever to the original, because the original was all black, but it does kind of match the white of the figure a little bit more. I think it looks good. Again, I don't know that I have a preference. The compound bow on the new one has same kind of thing. It's got white, although it has more white than the original one has red. Just looks a little niftier, a little different. And then the single arrow, again, the white fletching. And then his swords, I think, are just completely the same. Yeah, swords are basically the same thing. So not a big deal there. And of course there is the stand that comes with that one, which is nice, but I won't use because then I've got a few classified figures on my shelf that have stands and the rest don't. I do like that he comes with the shuriken hand. I think that's a really nice touch, and I'll definitely be using that in the display just because it's something different and unique. And I love the metallic paint on the shuriken. Looks really, really nice. It's actually, I believe, a different metallic paint than the sword. Maybe. Yeah, I guess it's about the same. It just, I guess, in the tiny, the contrast between the flesh tone and that just makes it a little more striking, maybe. And then you've got just a punch and fist hand, which I maybe would have preferred a martial arts hand, like a hand like that. But that, that's fine. I'll take it. So there you go. That is, let's gear him up, I guess. See if everything, because, the gear doesn't always fit the same on newer releases as it did on original releases. Sometimes, I don't know, if maybe it's just the molds, accept things a little bit differently. I don't know what the case is. But sometimes things fit a little bit better, to be honest. All right, let's get that off. I don't like that hood piece. There we go. Oh, look at that. I think that immediately makes this figure look better, is getting rid of that hood piece. Let's see. The bow fits right there. Plugs in nicely. Everything's in there good. It's not loose. As a matter of fact, the bow may fit a little bit better than the original one, because the original one, when I picked it up, fell right off. And then he's got the, we'll give him the shuriken hand. Very cool, I like that. And then finally, just that arrow with, oh yeah, it does. It fits right in there. I couldn't remember if that went in anywhere or not. There it is, right in the, and then finally put him on the stand that I'm not going to use. I'm not a big fan of figure stands anyway. I do think all figures should come with stands, especially 1/12 scale mass market figures, because of the issues that they often have with their joints, and with like Marvel Legends, man, sometimes the way the ratcheting joints are designed, they don't even stop in places where they can pose. So I think every figure should come with stands. I just don't like to use them because they use up more real estate on the shelf, and you're restricted to poses like that, which that's not how I do my thing. So there you go. That is the Retro Storm Shadow. Looks really good, all geared up. I like, you know what? I think I do prefer it over the older one. I like the lack of gloves. I like the wrapped forearms a lot more. And I will say it looks, the whites are a little different. The retro one is a little whiter than the mainline release. So I don't know how much part swapping you could do. It just depends on how sensitive your eye is, and we all have different standards for that. So there you go. Walmart and Pulse exclusive Retro Storm Shadow. I dig it. I think it's my preferred version. So there you go. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, share, tell your friends about needless things. And as always, Cobra.
Smash that like button if you like needless things.